Hey there, welcome to the Bible in 5. This week you guys are going to be reading the Song of Songs, and so that's what we're going to talk about in this video here. The Song of Songs, it's kind of a well-known book of the Bible. I don't think it's well understood by most people who read it. It consists of 8 chapters, and I don't have lots of different boxes to draw the Song of Songs, mostly because it's kind of one flowing collection of poetry, and you're not supposed to dissect it into little bits, you're just supposed to read it and enjoy it. And it's a collection of love poetry, essentially, which you may find odd that something like that would be in the Bible, but we'll talk about in just a minute why I don't think it's that odd. The first sentence of the book, right at the beginning, connects it to Solomon, King Solomon, in some way. A Song of Songs, which is by Solomon, many English translations read. However, that does not necessarily mean that Solomon authored it. The phrase that's used just means it's connected to Solomon in some way. And as you read on in the book, Solomon's mentioned just a couple times near the end of the book, and not in a positive light, really, at all. It's almost certain that Solomon did not write the book, but he's kind of the father of Israel's wisdom literature, and therefore it's connected to him in some way, and he's mentioned in the book. Throughout history, there's been 3 main interpretations offered. In the kind of the pre-Christian Jewish tradition, in the Hebrew Bible, it was viewed as poetry about a man and a woman, but these were viewed as symbols, that the man represents Yahweh, the God of Israel, the woman represents the people of Israel. It's a story about their relationship, God's love for Israel. This kind of morphed into Christian tradition, and so the figures were just swapped out. Namely, it's about Christ's love for his people, about how he loved them and gave himself for them. And that's often cued into Paul's letter in Ephesians chapter 5, where he describes marriage between a man and a woman, and he says a husband should love his wife just as Christ loves the church. So those were kind of 2 very common interpretations until the last couple hundred years, when there has been discovered through archaeology and so on, that poetry just like the Song of Songs, love poetry just like it, has been discovered in ancient Egypt, from ancient Babylon, and so on. This was a very common form of literature in the ancient world. And so what this third interpretation is, and I think it makes the most sense, it's pretty widely accepted today, is that this is just a collection of ancient Israelite love poetry, celebrating love and sexual attraction between a man and a woman. There's 3 characters there's kind of a little drama story being played out in the poems. One character is a man, and he's only described as a shepherd and that he's really handsome. And then the other character is a young woman. She's called the Shulamite in a couple passages. And she's described as a very beautiful woman. The descriptions of her looks, they come from a different culture. You might be surprised at how some of the descriptions are, but her neck is like a tower. That wouldn't be a compliment in our culture, but it was in theirs. So and essentially what the poem is doing is it's exploring their excitement about their relationship. There are a couple times where they're separated in the poems, and the woman goes looking for the man. Sometimes there'll be a collection of poems where they're just describing how excited they are to be with each other. They can't wait they seem to be in the engagement or betrothal period. They love talking about how each other's looks and so on. It's awesome. It's great to read. But what's interesting about the poem is there are a couple scenes where they're really looking forward to the night where they're going to consummate their marriage and their relationship. And there are a couple scenes where it builds up to that night, and then the scene ends. And it seems like what it's doing throughout the book is it's celebrating the love and the attraction between the man and the woman, and it builds up to the night where they're going to consummate the relationship, and then the curtain closes, and then it starts with another scene and builds up again, and so on. And what this is doing in the book, these build-up scenes, is it's heightening the anticipation, the excitement that comes from being in love and from sexual attraction and so on. The third character in the book is Solomon, and he kind of comes in to the story as kind of like the bad guy. He wants to pay a bride price to buy the woman, as one of his wives, and to take her away from, the shepherd lover and so on. But in the end, they end up celebrating their love together in the end of the book. So there's a little paragraph here at the end of the book in chapter 8 that kind of explores the main theme of the book. It says love is the most powerful thing that you can possibly imagine. It's like a fire that can never be quenched. And so essentially what this book is doing is it's exploring, it's celebrating the power of love and recognizing that it's a gift of God given as part of the way we experience life in our world. That's what wisdom literature is about, exploring life in our world. And so the book of Song of Songs is celebrating the experience of love and commitment and sexual attraction. And so to me, it's actually very profound that a book like this is in the Bible. It's validating the experience of love and sexual attraction and beauty, and that this is a good part of God's world. We should celebrate it, we should talk about it, and we should enjoy it for what it is. And there's a whole book of the Bible making that very point. So that may raise some questions for you. You should talk about them. Hope you may find the weekly Bible guide notes also in this book toolbox helpful for you. And that's great, so thanks so much.